Hey, welcome to Last Call. That's Mike. I'm Dean. Two things. It's good to know from those tweets that I have a future in the gambling industry. And the second thing, Mike, have you ever used or been referred to in person as bra?
I
Has that
thought
ever happened?
I thought it was an article of clothing. I mean, I was trying to think of what do you want to know about me wearing a bra? Come on. I know I don't have much of a chest, but gee, wearing a bra. Hey, bra,
All right.
how are you?
Give
I
us the
call you a
rundown.
bra. You'd be a casino dealer, you know. Hey, bra, give me a little more line of credit, would you?
That's
Be
right.
smart.
That's right.
Hey, lot to talk about. I mean, week 7 of last call, is that it? How about brawls and ejections, fights, punches, all kinds of stuff? Forward progress in Chicago. I mean, was that really the right call? Oh, wait a minute. It was the Saints. It probably wasn't, but we'll talk about that. How about that flag pickup in Green Bay about pass interference? We'll talk about that. We got Hunter Renfro. Is that a catch? What is a catch? One going to the ground, reverse, the other one isn't. And then the Broncos. I mean, they beat the buzzer. Is that the right title? Or should it be that the Chargers can't play to the buzzer? One of the two, but lots of things we'll discuss today. But let's talk. You're a boxing guy, Dean. So let's get into the fights right away. Might as well start with Javon Wims. Talk about him.
Yeah, this was, when you watch it in a vacuum, you go, what the heck just happened? Because Javon Wims just lost his mind. And so it's him and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson after the play, and Wims just goes up to him and actually grabs his mouthpiece off of his face mask and then hits him with a right hand and then hits him again. And it's like, and Gardner Johnson is just standing there like, what is going on? Obviously led to a little bit of a scuffle. Wims gets tossed. We just got news that he's going to get some additional discipline. You can get into that. It was your game, but this was crazy. And there were some things that led up to Wims. This wasn't just him snapping in the heat of the moment. There were some things leading up to it. What happened, Mike?
Well, if you look at the play before, I think the bad guy's Chauncey Gardner here. I mean, in the play before, he went up to Anthony Miller and stuck a finger inside of his mask. And, there's been a lot that has been said what actually started this. But certainly you saw that he stuck a finger in Miller's face mask. And I kind of felt it was a retaliation for that. Now that's a wrong retaliation. I mean, you can't throw a punch like that. I mean, you just have to maintain some poise there. But there's always something leading up to you, as you kind of indicated. And obviously the league, and we know if we go back, last week the Bostic hit on Andy Dalton, where they only fined $12,000 for that hit. I think the league is announcing that, or it has been announced that. At least quoted that the league has suspended Wims for 2 games. And it's obviously they put this into a different category, a non-football act, a fight. And a fight, they're going to deal with stronger. And we've seen it now in the last couple of weeks where there have been these skirmishes that have broken out on the field. And I think in COVID times and all this kind of stuff, to me, the league's taken a stronger stance.
No question. And I read one article that said that Gardner Johnson had taken Wims's mouthpiece off of him in a previous series. So maybe that was part of the retaliation. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Whatever you think, you've been wronged, right? It's the act is not justified, and the league took a strong stance, like you said. And we've seen some hits that were football plays that might have gone over the line. This is completely different. This has nothing to do with football. This is a non-football act, fighting, punching, kicking, those types of things. And the league is going to always come down very, very strongly in these types of acts. And as we kind of think about and move forward to another game where we had another ejection, a big rivalry game. You don't think of Saints Bears. That's not a division rivalry. This one, Ravens Steelers, they've been going at it for a while now. When you think about that AFC North and everything that goes into that. Talk about this. This was an ejection for a different reason. There's a scuffle But Matthew Judon got ejected. Why did he get ejected in this game?
Well, he got ejected for what appeared like that he was throwing a punch, and he hit side judge Rick Patterson, and Patterson not kind of moved away, and then that's what he ejected him for. Look, at the contact of a game official doesn't have to be intentional. I mean, the fact is that you've got guys that have no equipment that are going in and trying to break up fights, unless maybe you're Tony Carini in the Chicago game. That's when you just stand back, which I think is a pretty smart idea, by the way, is to stand back, and if it breaks out of that fight, let them fight, take numbers and throw them out. But Rick Patterson does get hit by the player who looks like he's trying to get away from a coach and pulls his arm around and hits Patterson in the arm. It seems like, Dean, that, that there's so many more ejections this year, and whether it's for the, leading with the crown of the helmet or an official that gets hit, but it's not the case. The numbers don't indicate that at all. But you just have to know, you have to be smart as a player, as some of these tweets that have said, even though it's accidental, those guys are going to be protected, and they should be protected. And to me, the ejection, the disqualification was certainly merited.
Yeah, I agree. This wasn't a situation where the official grabbed the player from behind, and you could have, some sensitivity toward that because the player doesn't know it's an official. The official was right in front of him. He clearly wasn't trying to hit the official, but he's swinging his arms. He made contact with the game official. You can't do that. If there's one thing that is as close to an automatic, that is, and he was disqualified. I wouldn't imagine any additional discipline in terms of a suspension. I think the ejection will suffice, and obviously there could be a fine, but I don't think we're going to see any additional games for that act. But again, it's just we always talk to our game officials about just being careful about going into a scuffle and altercation and not grabbing players from behind, but making yourself visible and making sure the players know you were an official. And I think that was the case here. And Judon's just got to be smarter than that.
It's kind of interesting because a lot of this stuff seems to happen when it's wide receiver on corner play and press. There's a ton of contact that goes on there. And that's why a common foul that you'll see called is illegal hands to the face, where the defender in press most of the time just goes right up to the face, takes that shot up, usually on the chin here. And that does knock the receiver sometimes right off of his route. I mean, we've talked about that before, about how, you just make slight contact and you don't turn the head, and that's going to be okay. But there's lots of times where those skirmishes break out for that type of action. But skirmishes aside, I mean, the non-contact play that's generated a lot of talk is the forward progress ruling in, a huge game with the Bears and the Saints. And Komet was originally called for fumbling the ball. It was ruled a fumble by the covering official that threw the beanbag. But then the crew got together and talked about it, and they changed the ruling on the field to forward progress. Right call, Dean?
Yeah, absolutely the right call. And I think this was magnified because, like you said, one official did rule it a fumble initially through the beanbag, and then you get the conference and they talk about it and they come back and make it forward progress. So I think that always magnifies things, and you're excited, right? You're a Saints fan, you think you're going to get the football, and then they come back, and it's clearly forward progress. Look, the receiver, he secures the catch. He's wrapped up. He's being driven backward. He has no opportunity to continue to fight to get more yardage, and the ball comes out as he's being pushed back. That's forward progress 101. And again, I didn't think it was that controversial when you look at the play. It's clearly forward progress, and I think you said that on the broadcast, right?
Yeah, I did. And then, when I'm thinking about it afterwards too, where are we that we would rule this on the field as a fumble? And to me, I'm starting to wonder, have we drifted too far into this area of let the play go? Whether it's a quarterback pass fumble play, it seems like you know, we always say don't officiate to the system, but it seems like we are in a lot of instances. And like this is one, okay, let the play go. Well, guess what? It's not reviewable. So you let the play go, and because you're concerned about it, oh, maybe it was a fumble. Well, let replay correct it. Well, guess what? You can't. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm getting a little worried about, you know, this whole thing of letting it play out without using your own instincts, like in this case, to say it was forward progress. Look, if he went down there, if he went down instead of fumbling the ball, guess where they'd have put the ball? They would have put it up where his progress was stopped and he was driven backwards. That's where they would have put it. Now, where they got the information from, I would imagine maybe across the field, that official may have had it. I mean, anybody could have had it. Maybe replay just kind of whispered into somebody's ear, hey, that was clearly forward progress. But it was the right ruling.
Absolutely. And I think it is. Forward progress is one of those deals, regardless of what they rule, it's not reviewable. Like you said, if they rule it a fumble, replay can't come in and say progress. If they rule progress, replay can't come in and make it a fumble. So the onus is on the official, and that's what we really need, is the official to be decisive, make a ruling, and not think about, well, if I let it go, replay can get involved. Just make the call, and I think that would kind of eliminate some of the confusion regarding that play. Definitely some confusion on this next play. Big game, Minnesota, Green Bay. 4th down. Green Bay thinks they're going to get a first down with a flag for defensive pass interference, but the flag was picked up. What did you see here, Mike?
Well, it's interference. I mean, it is interference. Jordan, why they pick up the flag? Yeah, defender never turns. Yeah, I get all that. It is interference. I would say this, though, that in real time, and remember now, they've got to make these judgments in real time. I mean, the official that threw the flag, I mean, it is interference, although it is a real tight one. I mean, somebody came in and said probably, hey, that's bang, bang. You know, we need to pick this up. But, you know, I thought about this one. What would have happened if this would have occurred last year? I mean, it's interesting at times to walk back. I mean,
Sure.
this would have been a play where, and I don't remember, I think it was outside of 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah,
it would
it
have
was.
to be a play that would have been challenged by Green Bay. Would replay have added it under the standard that they used last year for pass interference?
Depends on what week would the game have taken place.
Yeah,
We're
that's true.
week 8. So I
Yeah.
think week 8, we were still in a really high bar. So I don't think it would have got overturned.
Yeah, but it is interference, and you know, and the contact's there. He hits the arm first. The period does to turn him. He's got his left arm around him, slightly turns him just before the ball gets there. Look, it's the hardest call on the field to make, and most of the time, I like flag pickups because most of the time the pickups are right. But in this case, and you know, and you want the official to call it, stick with his guns, you know, but you listen to other angles that other officials have, and you know, then you yourself have to make the decision. The person that threw the flag has to make the decision to pick it up, and he did so. But obviously, as we look at it in slow motion, it's interference, and had the call remained on the field as pass interference, nobody would have said anything about it.
And I think that's the thing for me. If they don't throw a flag and it's just one of those, hey, you know, we thought it was bang, bang. We didn't think it was enough clearly before the ball got there. I can live with that. I still think it's pass interference, but when you throw the flag, you've seen something, right? You have that in your gut, in that kind of that conviction. You're going to throw the flag, and then when it's there and have it picked up, I think that's the frustrating part. I know, you know, Green Bay was upset about it. There were some comments about Aaron Rodgers made some comments about maybe New York is getting involved in those decisions. Obviously, that's not the rule this year. But we know that New York can get involved in not judgment calls, but other things administratively. So it just kind of lends itself to the question of, okay, what information was given to have that flag picked up when you do watch it and you say, hey, he's there early, it is a foul. But unfortunately, Green Bay didn't go their way, and you know, that would have extended the drive and what ended up being, you know, a close game.
On a side note, I said, I think it's the toughest call on the field to make. My first one I ever threw on the field was in Dallas, and I threw a pass interference. My first one, threw pass interference. The head linesman came down, Ernie Franz. How many Super Bowls did he wear? He said, "What do you got?" I said, "Pass interference, contact through the back." He said, "Not a good call." He went straight up in the air. And now I'm a rookie. I'm going, what? And I threw the flag. The back judge, John Robinson, came over, another great official. He said, "What do you got?" I said, "I call pass interference, contact through the back." He said, "Great call." And now I'm sitting there going, okay, what do I do now? And Mike Carey was the referee. He said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm sticking with my pass interference call." He said, "Good. What's the number?" And I said, "I don't remember." And he said, "How about 31?" I said, "Well, if you knew, why'd you ask me?" That was my indoctrination into pass interference. But it almost seems like it's easier now than pass interference than what is a catch and what isn't a catch. When is replay reversing and when is not? When is replay not reversing? Let's go through the Renfro catch that was ruled on the field as a catch, and Dean, I think they stayed with it.
Yeah, there was a lot of close plays in this game in the Browns and Raiders, and there were two plays. The one we're going to talk about first is Hunter Renfro ruled a catch for a touchdown, goes to review, and the ruling on the field stands. And I really feel like stands is the correct ruling, not because I think it's a catch. I think it's incomplete. I just don't see clear evidence that it is incomplete. So you have to revert back to the ruling on the field, which was a catch. There's no question. Look, Renfro's going to the ground. There's no football move. The ball hits the ground. But we never were able to determine if Renfro had control of the ball while it was touching the ground or not. And that's the key element. The ball can touch the ground as long as the receiver maintains control. And we just never had that look. And that's why it stood. It's for me, it's probably 89% incomplete. But if you can't get to 100, you can't overturn it.
Yeah, and I agree. And this whole notion of control before the ball hits the ground and then maintaining control, you've got those multiple elements there. And then right, you go to Jarvis. Jarvis's play in the end zone. Take us through that one. What's the difference? A lot of people don't think, hey, ball touched the ground. Why did one stand and one get reversed?
Well, here's the deal. Remember now, I guarantee you the majority of people that were tweeting about the Renfro play were Browns fans, because we're watching the game. Jarvis Landry ruled a touchdown, gets reversed. So the Browns play gets reversed, but the Raiders play doesn't get reversed. So you're going to get a little bit of that. But on the Landry play, the difference was we had the clear look. You could see the football go between Landry's hands. It's loose. It clearly touches the ground. He doesn't have control of it prior to the ball touching the ground. It's an incomplete pass because the evidence was there. We had really good looks on the broadcast and we could see it. The problem with the Renfro play, like we said, we just didn't have a great look of the football during that entire process, and they had to let it stand. So that's the difference, right? I think they're both incomplete. One, the evidence was clear. One, it wasn't so clear. So you got to go back to the ruling on the field of a catch on that second one.
I mean, I'm thinking about this game, and it wasn't, my game or our game, obviously, but there was the play too in this game with, wasn't it Ruggs on the, what's his name on the?
Yeah, Henry Ruggs. This was at the sideline.
How about that one? And that to me, that goes to what you just said a bit ago. I think that was incomplete. It was complete. Yeah. I think it was complete and a touchdown. But I'm telling you, when you shoot from the outside looking in and from the inside looking out, and without one directly down the line, it is so close. And I would think, and I think you made some comment about it, that it looks like there might be a little bit of green showing in front of the toe. But golly, I think doesn't mean you're overturn it. It's just so close.
I now know why you've never been referred to or used the word bra, okay? Because you just said golly. All right, moving on. Let's go to end of game Broncos Chargers. I don't know the Chargers. Everybody's talking about Atlanta losing all these leads. But Atlanta finished the game Thursday night. The Chargers 4 games in a row, they've lost double-digit leads late. Broncos driving late, end of game, game-tying touchdown. What happened here, Mike?
Well, it's down to one play. It's down to one play, and they throw the ball to the sideline in the end zone, and it is initially ruled incomplete. It's initially ruled incomplete, but you can see he's got control, and his butt is going to hit down inbounds, and he maintains control and goes out of bounds on his back. Ruled incomplete. Clearly should have been a catch. And I think the other official, the deep official, came in and talked to him about it. And on the field, they reversed it on the field. Again, different viewpoint from somebody else, throws it into who's going to make the final decision. And they made it a catch on the field, which it was. And the ones I always worry about is, you know, what looks horrible is if this would have gone to replay and they couldn't tell, then it'd have been a bigger story. But if they'd have left this as incomplete and gone to replay, they would have changed it, because you've got everything you need. It is clear and obvious. But like you say, the Chargers have blown 10-point leads, I think, in 4 straight weeks. First time in the history of the league that's happened. So we could talk all about the Falcons we want, but man, but what did the officials see? Not sure. It's just so easy in slow motion. But to me, that should have been a decision that should have been made correctly right off the bat.
I think, but it was a great example of, like you said, 2 different perspectives. You had one official, and I believe it was the elbow that hits out of bounds. And I think that's why that official ruled it incomplete. That's what they saw. And the other official, from their perspective, saw the butt hit. And right, as you always said, right, one cheek equals both feet. You're very fond of saying that. And I think it was a great, they got together, they talked about it. Now look, it was inside 2 minutes. So regardless of what they rule, it's going to be automatically reviewed. It's not a coach's challenge situation. So just make the call, and then replay is going to look at it. But it was the way it worked out was the right, rule to catch on the field, touchdown. They confirmed it in replay. And the Chargers then, kicked the Broncos kicked the extra point and won the game. But it was an exciting, at least the Chargers games are exciting. They're going down to the wire. But for you Chargers fans, we got to get a win. We got to win one. Atlanta got off the schneid. I think the Chargers can too.
Well, listen, I picked up the LA Times this morning before I got on the airplane. There aren't too many excited LA football fans, period, this week.
Not right now. Well, anyway, that's Mike. I'm Dean. This has been Last Call. Please join us Sunday. We got a great slate of games. And don't worry about who's at the top of the list. Go to the bottom of the list. Seahawks, Bills, our man Bondo. Bills riding high after finally getting over the hump and beating the Patriots, a decimated Patriots team that still had a chance to win at the end, but Cam fumbled. But watch that game on Sunday and our other games. Take care, guys.
Sunday on Fox, one of the game's most electrifying players takes center stage. As Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs.
Pass is caught for the touchdown.
Against Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers.
What a throw.
Or Derek Carr leads the Raiders.
Brilliant play.
Against rookie phenom Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Touchdown, what a throw.
A huge day of football kicks off Sunday on Fox and the Fox Sports app.